let's get into this, children, shall we? That isn't right. Okay, now I'm going to do a review now for the Phoenix, the part dos of Save Rock and Roll video trilogy Youngblood Chronicles. Okay, so this video starts off with where My Songs Know What You Did in the Dark leaves off. See the two hoochies walk up to the van, open the van, let the boys out, or not let them out, but it shows you the boys sitting there with bags over their heads. And that says earlier that week. Okay, apparently all of these videos happen in a week. All of this shit that happens in these videos happens in a week. Now, the second image it cuts to after it shows you the boys in the van, they're all standing around this briefcase, and they open it, and light shines out like it's Jesus' halo, or Jesus' asshole. And they all look at each other, and the music starts for the Phoenix. Patrick looks at Pete, Pete looks at Patrick, loving glances. Andy and Joe look into the briefcase, and you note it cuts to Patrick having the briefcase shackled to his handcuff. It's not a shackle, but it's attached to his hand, and you see what appears to be a tattoo on Patrick's hand. And then it cuts to him, leaving with the briefcase, and you hear the click of the handcuffs, and then you see the logo for the Phoenix. And then it cuts to him walking down the street really fast, trying to get somewhere. Doesn't make. I just ruined the video for you. Kind of. But he's singing, which we can all agree Patrick's voice is amazing. It's like, just amazing. And he's got the hat and the glasses and the jacket, and he's looking behind him, and he's got this thing shackled to his arm. And the lyrics for this song are really badass. A lot of the songs, yeah, I like every song on this album. I just like every song on this album. It feels like a really complete thing. But, you see him walking, and he's randomly singing, and he's just like, could you imagine, imagine you didn't know this man. Imagine you didn't know him, and he was walking down your street past your house singing. Even if he had a good voice. It's kind of like, what's that guy doing? You attract a lot of attention. And maybe that's what he's trying to do, because as you see, about a minute into the video, this slut walks up behind him, and yes, I'm kidding. I don't really know if the girl's a slut. I know that's rude. I am sorry. She walks up behind him, and basically, which he stops, because he sees this little kid. This little kid plays an important role in this series, it seems to be. But she comes up behind him as he's watching this kid, and the kid smiles, and he smiles back, and she tasers him in the neck. And it cuts to Patrick being, sat in a chair and trying to get out and being jostled, and they're restraining him and threatening him just at first. And then you see him, the inevitable, Patrick, getting his hand cut off, and Patrick's stump has his stump. I had to make that joke. If I hadn't, this wouldn't be a very good review of the video. And then you see the little kid from the previous section of the video where, Patrick was kidnapped and tasered with a bag on his handlebars, and he is driving through the same neighborhood. So it leads you to believe that Patrick was heading for Pete's house. Because the kid, I got ahead of myself. The kid gets to Pete's house, hangs the bag, whatever's in it, just the grocery bag. The kid might have been getting Pete's groceries for all we know. But the kid sticks the bag on his doorknob and hits his doorbell. And Pete wakes up immediately. There's two women in his bed, and he wakes up and rubs his eyes and walks to the door, and what do we see? Patrick getting tortured. Patrick is strapped down to a slab now, being tortured, singing while he's being tortured. What a sport. What a good sport he is about this whole being tortured thing. Pete comes out and opens the door and looks down. Another problem that some people have in this video. The tattoo, here's beyond this, Patrick's left hand, or, the drawing order, is on Patrick's left hand at the beginning of the video. The hand in the bag is a right hand. Now there are things called rotating a shot to make it look like a certain thing, which I believe that's what they did. Because if you look, that's the hand that's cut off. That's the hand that's got a stump on it now, okay? It's the right hand. It's the correct hand. Not the right hand, but it's the correct hand. And as we see Pete do this, he makes an exasperated expression like, I can't believe you got your hand cut off, Patrick. I have to save the day again. Just kidding, he doesn't really do all that. But he shuts the door and goes in his house, and you see Patrick being tortured, and these women being, torturing him. And then you see Pete putting a glove as if to catch a hawk, the glove on his hand, and the bird, and the bird goes flying, which ironically the video is called The Phoenix. And then you see Pete, the bird fly, and you see Andy look up, and you get a beautiful shot of Andy's neck tattoo. No one's complaining about that. But then you see these two women sneaking up behind Andy. Well, not two, but one. You see one. Sorry, I kind of, got that wrong. One person for each person being kidnapped. But anyway, they stuff him into a van, they shut the door, and they drive off. The same black van, ironically, I think, that is in the previous video, if anyone remembers. Patrick's being tortured. It's later on in the song, and it's getting all dark and deep, and he's being tortured, and which, as much blood loss as he's suffering, it's probably pretty hard to sing. And then, eventually, it gets to the part where they kidnap Joe. Which Joe, he kind of gets kidnapped in a very funny way. It's not funny that any of them get kidnapped, it's just the story of the video, but it's funny how Joe gets kidnapped, because he's at the gas station. Joe, you're smoking at a gas station. A lot of people, that's the thing that they comment about in this video. Why is Joe smoking at a gas station? Well, I'm not saying it's a real cigarette, I don't know if it is or not. It could be one of those electric ones, for all we know. This day and age, it could be. And you see a woman pouring some kind of thing on a rag, and then you see her sneak up behind him and take him down. And then you see her dragging him to the van. And then it cuts back to Pete, and it keeps cutting back from Patrick being tortured to Pete. And then you see a woman walk up to him. The same woman that got Andy, apparently, but for some reason, she has taken the mask off of her face. Mind you, it cuts to the girl in the bed again. This girl, having spent a romantic evening with Pete Wentz, isn't concerned at all about what Pete Wentz has gotten himself into. And I don't know. Then this woman sneaks up behind Pete and stabs him in the neck with a syringe and gives him some kind of dose of something. And then you see the Patrick's bloody hand, the one that he still has attached to him. He's sitting at this huge table, and he snaps his fingers, and it's the end of the video. And frankly, to me, that's a pretty good video. It's pretty suspenseful. It tells a pretty good story. It gives up a pretty good portion of the story. And this review is way, way longer than the other one. The other one was like 5 minutes. This one's like going on 10. But honestly, this is a bigger part of the story, and I think some of the videos are going to have smaller parts of the story, and some are going to have bigger, more crucial parts of the story. And it might not be that bad of a thing, because they can't give away like a key part every time, and they're not going to be able to use 11 videos. So, that's, just my view on it. On to the next one!